The act of waiting around with no particular purpose is called loitering, and it's what I'm doing now. Loitering may not seem like a big deal, but when you see black people getting arrested for waiting in the Starbucks or choked for selling cigarettes on the corner, you're looking at the racist history of loitering laws at work. Loitering laws have been around for a very long time, but there's a fine line between loitering and just hanging out, which sometimes leads to selective enforcement. In some places, black people are between 3 to 10 times more likely to be arrested for low-level offenses like loitering than their white counterparts. So, where did these laws even come from?
Vagrancy laws and loitering come from Victorian England, and then they were imported to the U.S., but they take full steam and are enacted aggressively in a post-1865 moment.
After the Civil War ended and slavery was abolished, Southern states passed a new set of laws called the Black Codes. These laws severely restricted the newly freed black population. For instance, former slaves were denied the right to vote and the right to serve on juries. They were also forced to sign yearly contracts with their former owners, and if they refused to sign, they risked being beaten or arrested for vagrancy, which basically meant that being unemployed was a crime.
Loitering, breaking curfew, anything that you would find a newly free population probably engaging in as what would have been considered reasonable activity was deemed illegal and a crime.
These laws set the stage for mass imprisonment of black people and continue to be used against them well into the 20th century. In 1965, civil rights activist Fred Shuttlesworth was sentenced to 6 months in prison for loitering. His crime? Speaking to friends on the sidewalk during a department store boycott in Birmingham, Alabama. In nearby Montgomery, Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested for loitering while trying to attend a friend's court hearing. And in the late 60s, 2 white women and 2 black men driving a car in Jacksonville, Florida, were arrested for prowling by auto, a charge that fell under Florida's vagrancy law at the time. The cops denied that race played a role in the arrest, but when the case was brought before the Supreme Court, Justice Harry Blackmun said the 4 were really convicted for racial intermingling. Florida's vagrancy law was then deemed unconstitutional because of its ambiguity. Over time, other city and state loitering laws were also deemed unconstitutional because of how vague they were. In 1999, the Supreme Court found Chicago's gang loitering ordinance unconstitutional. The vaguely worded law allowed police to basically arrest anyone who looked to them like a gang member.
The purpose of the statute, Your Honor, is to allow the police to attack the form of behavior that criminologists know can contribute to crime in the community, which is the intimidating presence of gang members. Something that's...
Isn't this actually punishing people for who they are rather than what they've done?
Over the course of 3 years, the gang loitering law had led to about 42,000 arrests of primarily Latinx and Black residents. And this sanctioned discrimination extends to other communities. Loitering laws have been used to racially profile Latinx day laborers and have led to arrests over their immigration status. Even the Department of Homeland Security called out this racist practice in 2015, when Louisiana police officers arrested 2 Honduran men for loitering, then reported them to Border Patrol. The courts have ruled over and over against the use of these laws, yet people of color still find themselves accused and abused in the name of loitering.